All right, this is going to be a burst clip right here. We are going to Wings, Wake, Divine Toll, Final Reckoning into a... I don't even know what happened. What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the 10.0.7 PTR. There was just a late night update to the PTR. I feel like it was kind of a random day, honestly. It was a Thursday night. So we're going to check out what is left for us here on the PTR. So first thing that I noticed when we open this up is Unbound Freedom and Selfless Healer are now on the left side of the tree. However, to my understanding, they are now ret specific in these spots here. So Healing Hands or Unbound Freedom. In theory, we can pick up both of these, but in order to pick up a lot of the more important talents in the Paladin tree, we now have to choose which side we want to go down. And for me, I'm definitely going to be picking up this brand new toy called Vengeful Wrath. Now, for those of you that have played a Paladin a very long time, one of the most satisfying patches, I believe, one of the most overpowered times Ret has had in its history was Cataclysm, at least in PvP. And this is partly in contribution to the fact that Hammer of Wrath always crit during your wings. I'm not entirely sure if I remember it being around in Mist of Pandaria. I think it was, but specifically Cataclysm, I remember wings, Hammer of Wrath hit for just as hard as your Templar's Verdict, and that is what this talent is letting us do. It is always crits on your Hammer of Wrath. So we have an Execute. Our Hammer of Wrath actually does something again. And for the past several expansions, Hammer of Wrath has always just felt like another Judgment or another Holy Power Generator. In Warlords of Draenor, it felt like, Judgment, Exorcism, and Hammer of Wrath all felt the same. So now they're differentiating our Holy Power Generators, which I absolutely love. All of them serve a purpose. All of them feel like they do good damage, except in the previous build, Hammer of Wrath. And now, problem solved. It's an auto crit. It's worth prioritizing over your other Holy Power Generators. Now, a few other talents factor in when we consider taking this talent right here, and that is Blades of Light, or I should say three. There's Blades of Light, Physical Presence, and Education, whatever. ADJ. We'll call it that. So what this talent does is it causes your Hammer of Wrath to cast a Blessed Hammer. And that makes it so your Hammer of Wrath is generating 2 Holy Power. Technically, there's a 4th talent up here, but this is unchanged. This is actually semi-nerfed, so they did take away 1 charge from Vanguard's Momentum. But we can potentially, on an Execute, generate 3 Holy Power from 1 Hammer of Wrath cast, as long as we're taking Education and Vanguard's Momentum. Now, what the Holy Strike damage does here is it lets our Hammer of Wrath scale off of this talent here, Physical Presence. So it's being increased by Mastery and also 20% increase from Physical Presence here. I'm not entirely sure how the scaling works behind the scenes with Holy Strike and physical damage. I imagine that the spell kind of scales half and half. But because it's physical damage now, or part physical damage, it allows it to scale from Physical Presence. This makes it so we can absolutely crank out some crazy Hammer of Wraths. And I'm wondering if we might change up the stat priority now. I feel like my Holy Power spenders and generators are all doing really solid damage. Obviously, they all scale off of Mastery now. But could there be a Crusade build with some haste that lets us spam out some auto crits on Hammer of Wrath? That could be absolutely crazy. But for now, I'm going to show you guys the build that I have tested that is currently my favorite, which is this build right here. So with this build, we have multiple, and I mean tons of different ways of getting out our burst damage. We have Final Reckoning, we have a Wake of Ashes, completely empowered by the bottom two talents. We have our Divine Toll. We have our 1 minute cooldown Wings. So I'm gonna talk about each of these offensive cooldowns right now. There is a few talent points that you can change around in this build, but for the most part, this is as bursty as it gets. So when we go into the training dummy over here, the first opening rotation that you would do with this build, I'm imagining, is you would probably, I want to say, you want to stun your target, Wings, Wake of Ashes, Final Reckoning, Divine Toll, into a Justicar's Vengeance, into a Blade of Justice, into, like, JV Spam. And then when you're, like, kind of capping on Holy Power, they're getting away, that's when you go into your Hammer of Wrath spam. But at the moment, Hammer of Wrath hits so hard that I feel like it's almost worth pressing when you're capped on Holy Power just to keep it on cooldown. It does so much damage that, yeah, I'm not even sure when, what the priority is going to be. So we gotta wait for some tuning to happen, because currently in duels, like, a lot of the times our generators are hitting so hard that it's kind of just worth overcapping on Holy Power and kind of ignoring our spenders sometimes. I'm going to talk, like, just primarily Hammer of Wrath, but also maintaining the Expurgation Dot. So, like, say, for example, I'm at 4 Holy Power right now, and I don't have the Expurgation Dot. I have been currently overcapping on Holy Power just to get that Expurgation Dot up, because it does so much damage. Like, there we go. Just crit for 20k. It does really good damage here. So I want to kind of hold off judgment on how the rotation priority is going to go in the future. Some of the bursts we have is absolutely nutty right now. Another big change that came in was Justicar Vengeance is now an 8-yard range, which is longer than what it had before. Let me see if I can pull up on this dummy right here. So right about here. This is how far our Justicar Vengeance hits for now. Pretty far. Almost as far as the range that we had in on Final Verdict, on original Final Verdict. But unfortunately, the Crusader Aura does not stack with it. So notice how Crusader Aura increases Templar's range by 3 more yards. It does not increase JV. Now that might be an oversight, because now Templars transforms into JV. So we'll see how long it takes them to fix this bug here. But yeah, I think JV, if it remains 8-yard range, is definitely going to be taken. However, Final Verdict now has another additional benefit here, in that it resets the cooldown on Hammer of Wrath. Previously, this literally didn't matter. At least in PvP, it did not matter. Final Verdict resetting Hammer of Wrath, those hits were tickle damage. Now, let me see if I can get a reset here. Watch, it's going to take forever. But now, with the resets, your Hammer of Wrath actually hits pretty hard. So it's, again, going to be kind of difficult to judge when we need to actually take JV, or, here we go, here's one right here. So, boom, 66k, and 2 Holy Power. It's going to be tough to judge when we need to go JV versus when we need to go Final Verdict, because now JV has the range. Not that much range, honestly, just like a little bit of range. It honestly might not make that much of a difference versus casters when we're getting kited, but it could be cool against melee when we're just barely kiting out of range of their melee abilities. And then Final Verdict, obviously not scaling off of physical presence, but still, it still has that super long range. Let's see if it's affected by Crusader Aura at all. So I am right here. Right here. That's the max range. Look how far away we are. That's crazy. Now, let's take off Crusader Aura. So, Crusader Aura is currently functioning correctly with Final Verdict. So, if I take this off, the range is right about here. But put the Crusader Aura on, and we are way back here. Like, that is very far. That is very far. I love that. That's really cool. We're like a true mid-range class. So yeah. It's actually, I haven't quite tested it out prior to this video to see how far away this is. This is wild. We're like literally an Hunter back here, cannoning off the 100k hammer Ras and final verdicts from a mile away. God, I can hear the rage already on the forums. But you know, obviously there's going to be some tuning. Numbers aren't going to be, you know, as insane as they are right now, I believe. Although I would like them to be good. I want Ret to be S tier. Obviously, I'm biased, right? I play a Ret Paladin. However, just this rework itself has felt like a new expansion to me. This tree right here, it plays so differently than what we have on Dragonflight at the moment. So differently. Like Wake of Ashes actually feels super impactful with these talents here. Final Reckoning feels like it has its place in the rotation. Execution Sentence feels like it has its place in the rotation. This actually just got buffed. I've yet to test it in duels. I did a little bit of testing before this video here. But like, this is the rework I wanted. It's so different than Shadowlands. Because right now, the way that we play Ret on Dragonflight is almost identical to Shadowlands, but it's 10 times weaker. We just don't have that sustain. And here we have the sustain healing. Damage will get tuned, but it looks to me like we're going to have sustained damage for like the first time in Ret's history. We'll have decent sustained damage. Our top end burst is a little bit lower because we're missing Seraphim. But just having these abilities hit fairly decently hard from, you know, not during our wings is amazing. The dot is really good. The dot did get nerfed, by the way. There's only one talent point on Penitence now, so it's 15% rather than 2 points for 30%. And also, I'm pretty sure Empyrean Legacy is not currently functioning with Just Guard Vengeance. But I do like taking Empyrean Legacy here. However, if the dot damage remains strong, we can go Blade of Vengeance in AoE Cleaves. If we're dueling, I do recommend Empyrean Legacy because that's additional burst on your duel. If we want to go for sustained single target, we can take Heart of the Crusader. Make our Crusader strike hit much harder, especially since it's going to be scaling with our mastery now. So that's 10% on top of the Holy Strike damage that we're going to get from Blades of Light. There's so many different combinations of damage that we can get out here, and it is very, very fun. Something else to note, that Divine Hammer is now functioning with Consecrated Ground, so the slow does follow you. So we have, I guess, a slow on a 20-second cooldown. It's kind of cool. We also do have the Judgment of Justice up here, which is the 10% movement speed increase and 30% slow on enemy targets. There is no speed buff, I believe, attached to it on your character, but I do think I feel the 10% move speed when I run around. Let's run around for a few seconds, and then yeah, I think I see my character speeding up. It's really hard to tell. It's only 10%, right? This could get tuned. I hope it gets tuned. I hope it's a little bit more than 10%. Like even 15% would be okay. But the 30% slow is baked into the tooltip on the Judgment target, I believe. Yep, and move speed reduced by 30%. So we do have a slow in the form of Judgment now, which is pretty cool. What else is new here that we missed? There was some nerfs to Blessed Champion and Commanding Judgment. I'm pretty sure these were going to be absolutely nutty in Cleaves or in PvE. I'm assuming they probably nerfed them for PvE reasons, because when you make literally every spell we have Omega Cleave, it's probably going to be a little overtuned. So yeah, they did hit these with some nerfs. I was expecting that. They did fix Empyrean Power to now function with Crusading Strikes. I have yet to test Empyrean Power outs with Crusading Strikes. Honestly, it could be good. It could be good because we have the additional globals now that they... I don't know if I mentioned this before, but they did nerf Crusading Strikes. So now it's every other Crusader Strike generates a Holy Power. I kind of figured that they would nerf Crusading Strikes because it was just basically unlimited Holy Power. It was actually crazy how much we were getting. And now it's every other, which feels a little bit awkward, but honestly, Crusading Strikes felt awkward to me the first time around. So now I got used to it over a few days, and it felt very natural. Now I'm assuming I'm going to have to go through the same process. And actually, there's probably going to be a couple add-ons that we can run to make Crusading Strikes easily trackable. Outside of that, oh yes, this is another talent that I wanted to go over here, Vanguard of Justice. I did try this out here. It's kind of funny. So for every talent point that you put into this, your Holy Power spender costs an additional Holy Power, but does an additional 20% damage. So let me get rid of these two right here, and we'll just toss them into Vanguards of Justice while running Final Verdict. Let me show you like a normal Templars here. So normal Templars with Judgment. 38k. DP, okay, 77k crit. We have Blessing of Dawn here. Upper end, 56k. Sophic Devotion. One more here. 123k crit. With the next talent here, let's swap in. The damage is actually so stupid. I don't know if I see this like going through live. Obviously, it's kind of nutty, but let's just send it here. Like 145k non-crit, 126k non-crit. It does take a little bit more to ramp up your damage. 107k non-crit, 105k non-crit, 69k non-crit, 60k non-crit. Our damage is over. 65k non-crit. From this thing. 63k non-crit. 52k non-crit. And this is without judgments. It actually doesn't look like the talent is functioning with Divine Purpose. 71k non-crit. 81k non-crit. Yeah. So the damage is really, really, really high. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a crit out of this here, like a full top-end crit. But when I was messing around with it before, I crit a 366k Final Verdict. It was like literally with everything. It was with both Trinkets, Sophic Devotion, Final Reckoning. But this could lead to some like Mist of Pandaria Heroic Strike levels of one-shots. And it's going to be kind of RNG. So, like, say you get a Divine Purpose proc and you have 5 Holy Power and you have Wake of Ashes. You just press Wings, Final Verdict, Wake of Ashes, Final Verdict for like 40% increased Holy Power spenders into a Final Reckoning. That could be absolutely nutty. Absolutely nutty. And you could even play Blessed Hammer with this build for more reliable generation. But there's a lot to be tested here. There's a bunch of good builds, guys. There's a ton of good builds. And some of the talents are currently not yet implemented. Like Searing Light here is apparently going to have an additional effect. Swift Retribution is going to have an additional effect. So we'll see. There's more to come. And just because I know a bunch of people are going to ask comments about this in the future, where is the ret mobility? With the update today, they did announce that they are still, in fact, working on the ret mobility. So the next things to come are tuning, and hopefully the ret mobility spell in the, maybe, who knows, maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll get some tuning tomorrow. Maybe we'll get this, the ret mobility spell next week. But, yeah, stay tuned for more. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.